Welcome back to another episode of Let's Stay In.
I'm Anna, and this is Mark.
Now, before we get into today's episode, we got to give you that annoying reminder. Make sure you like, subscribe, download, comment. If there's a button, make sure you click it. Somehow, I think that helps us out.
With that being said, let's just jump right in.
Before we jump into this episode, I think we need to talk about a few things, actually.
You want to cover some things?
We got to cover some things. Alex Cooper getting $125 million?
She deserves it.
She deserves every bit of it. But listen,
it's
guys,
incredible.
That's why we need people to like, subscribe, download, comment the whole nine.
That's
because
so true.
Listen, I think we should make a deal. I think we should make a deal with the audience. If we get a $125 million deal, we will somehow give away $1 million to somebody.
Oh, for sure. Easy. Draw a name out of a hat.
Yeah, maybe we give $100,000 to 12 and a half people.
I love that idea.
We just cut one person in half.
So my boyfriend's a part of a fantasy football league, and his friend was doing business right next to a strip club. And so he went into the strip club, and he was like, hey, can you draw a name out of the hat for who goes first for our fantasy football league? Sent a video of this girl named like Trixie or something. Amazing content. We'll do that with us.
Okay.
We'll go into the nearest strip club. We're going to have a lucky winner. Pull it out of the hat.
There it is. Mm-hmm. There it is. Yeah, we got to listen. So that is your motivation. If you're watching this podcast episode right now and you haven't liked, subscribed, downloaded, commented, shared the podcast, send it to grandma, send it to your ex-boyfriend, send it to your ex-wife, send it to whoever. If you haven't done that yet, you're hurting your chances of winning $1 million.
$1 million.
Because the moment we get a fat bag of cash from Sirius or from Spotify or from whoever, truly anybody.
I heart whoever's listening.
Yeah, literally anybody. If you want to give us a fat bag of cash, we will take it and we will give away $1 million to somebody who's listening to the podcast.
We'll do one of those big checks.
100%.
The massive ones.
Huge
They're
check.
like $500 or whatever. It's worth it.
We'll put.
We got money to spend.
You know those like cartoon shows where they would like dive into the money pit? We'll do that. Somebody can just dive into $1 million. I don't know what $1 million looks like in ones, but I assume it's a quite large.
I feel like there's a lot of bacteria in there too.
Well,
yeah, it's
would
like licking a gas station bathroom.
I would lick a gas station bathroom for $1 million.
Would you? I wouldn't.
No?
There was a sign in a Chevron that I just went to that said, please do not do coke in the bathroom. And I thought that was so bold for a Chevron.
Apparently.
Right? Like, I feel like if you're desperate enough to do it, just let them do it. Like, if they're going to do it in the gas station, like.
Was it in the middle of nowhere?
No. No, it was right by a college campus.
Oh, I was going to say, I wonder if it was like for truckers or whatever. Maybe they do coke to stay awake or something.
I just have never seen a neon sign like that before, so.
I have no idea. So,
anyway, sorry.
All right, so here's what we're doing with this podcast episode. So this episode is going to be a little bit different than our typical episodes. This episode is going to be all about Anna.
Stop it. That'd be the worst.
We figured we needed to do an episode at some point where we just basically you guys get to know more of us. So this episode is going to be about Anna. If you guys want it, we could do an episode about me, but this one is specifically about Anna. Okay?
Don't beg. I'll tell you guys about me.
So we figured to start off this podcast episode, we needed to do spice it up a little bit, and so we're gonna do a shot of a Chinese liquor called Mao Tai.
Mao Tai.
And Mao Tai is apparently a very luxury liquor in China. I've never been to China, but they've told me it's gigantic in China. I believe it is. It's very expensive. That I know.
I Googled it.
Yeah. So anywho, we're going to start it off and then we're going to say cheers in, I believe Mandarin. They told me this too. I could be.
What is it?
Ganbei.
Ganbei.
I could be saying something completely else. I have no idea, but hopefully
it could be like, I'm ugly.
Yeah, very well could be. Very well could be. So
we take a little shot. It's like a little thimble. So I have a fear, everybody that's listening, I have a fear of trying new substances. That's why I don't do drugs. I'm really scared of interactions. That's real full. So I have to like every last drop it. Yeah. Okay. Wait. Ganbei. Ganbei.
Okay. All right. So it's not a bad scent.
It smells like scotch.
Scotchy scotch. Okay, let me show to the camera. This is what it looks like. Okay, we'll do a little close-up photo.
This isn't small. I just have huge hands.
Okay. I would cheers you, but yours is very full. So we're just going to say Ganbei, and then we'll take it.
If it's bad luck, I want to cheers you.
Okay, three. So. Okay. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Ganbei.
Ganbei. I actually really enjoy that.
There we go.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's expensive?
Yeah.
I always like that.
Yeah,
that sucks.
It's about $350.
You just like turned me from Jack and Cokes to
Mao Tai.
Mao Tai. It has an after effect that it tastes like what a beef jerky bag smells like. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
when you
I
take
mean,
a whiff of beef jerky, not the first opening, because that
Yeah.
smells like trash, but like at the bottom.
Somebody told me chocolate and soy sauce.
There is soy sauce. So maybe that's, I'm tasting the teriyaki of the beef jerky.
Okay.
It's full bodied.
Yeah.
I like it. I actually really enjoy it. It's savory.
It lights you up a little bit.
It does.
It's unlike any other type of liquor.
Oh, I feel fun.
Yeah. There we go.
You're like, it wouldn't have hit you yet.
Okay, here. Oh. We're just dropping shit.
Ooh, I want Mau Tai. Mau Tai to sponsor me.
Shout out to Mau Tai. Please sponsor the podcast.
That or Jack Daniels, please. Thank you.
We'll take either. But
Is that like truth serum?
yeah.
That would be weird.
Yeah, it's true serum. So, okay, we're just gonna jump right into this. So, okay, so Anna, give like we ask all of our guests for a 30-second elevator pitch. So, give a 30-second elevator pitch for yourself. How would you describe yourself to somebody who's meeting you for the first time?
Okay, do you want an intro or do you want an elevator pitch? You always say elevator pitch, which means like I have to like pitch you in 30 seconds of like how great I am, like what my strengths are. You want that?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay. Hi, I'm Anna. I have golden retriever energy. I'm going to try to make you like me. I promise to bring the best energy possible into any situation. I will work really hard. I'm 32 years old. I'm a Taurus. I am model, fragrance owner, podcast host, girlfriend, cat mom,
Boom.
daughter.
Boom.
And what else is there to know about me?
Great person.
Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah, you do a great job.
Thank you. It matters.
So walk me through like what did you when you were going to college? Where did you go again for everybody who doesn't know?
University of Oregon.
And you grew up in
Sonoma, California.
Okay, so you grew up in Sonoma, California. You went to the University of Oregon. What did you think you were going to be doing with your life when you were 18 years old? Checking into your dorm room, freshman year, University of Oregon. What did you think you were going to be doing with your life, and when did that change?
Something about me, I don't think ahead that much. So I kind of go into something taking it like for the next week. I think about that day, the following week. I've never been like a 5-year plan person. I've never really thought of what anything could be. All I know is I want my life to be really big. And I know it has a lot of potential. So I just want variety. I want excitement, but I don't really have a plan. So I went to college and I went for, at that time, journalism. I kind of thought, I was like, everyone always tells me I look like Aaron Andrews. So I wanted to be a sportscaster. That was my dream. Went to Journalism 101. Every single girl in the class was like a 5'9" blonde. And I was like, oh, so you have to like really want it to be successful in this? I don't really want it. It just seems like a fun job. And plus you probably have to go to Ohio and have like the 7:00 news and, climb your way, whatever. So I did that, switched to graphic design halfway through. I did that because I grew up in that industry because of my father. I dreamed of working with him one day or thought I dreamed of it. And then regretted it because I was like, wait, I want to go into abnormal psychology. So I became really upset.
Abnormal psychology. What is that?
So my favorite movie of all time is Silence of the Lambs. I think Clarice is one of the best characters in any film, book, whatever. Wanted to be her. I thought she was so interesting. I couldn't be less like her, but I thought I was like her at the time. And I wanted to be a criminal profiler. I thought that was the coolest job in the world. And it's funny because then I went on to be a horrible reader of people. So...
kind of test.
Just couldn't be worse at assessing. But like the thing is like it has to be real bad. The mediocre bad ones I never sniff out.
Yeah, fair. Okay. And then when did you start getting into modeling? How did that come to fruition? Because basically, I remember the first time I saw you was on like Barstool Smoke shows or TFM Girls or one of those different accounts.
Yeah.
One of those different accounts.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like, oh, she's that girl from University of Oregon. I remember seeing you and like remembering that. And I had a buddy who went to University of Oregon, so he had brought you up. And then years later, I ended up doing a photo shoot with you, and I was like, this is wild. And to this day, I always remember that photo shoot because I thought I was so bad that day. I was like, she's never going to shoot with me again. Like, these photos sucked. I was so new to photography. It was a whole new experience. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
We've done 38 shoots together, I think, minimum.
We've done a lot. We have done a lot.
You didn't suck.
But in terms of, I guess, how did you get into modeling? How did all of that come to fruition? And then, I guess, when did you start looking at like social media and whatnot as an actual career?
Okay, so I think I liked, if I'm being totally transparent, I never thought I'd be a model, but I really liked the attention.
Fair.
So my best friend, Emily, she's getting married this weekend. She was in a photography class in high school and college, and she'd always use me as her subject. Is it okay?
Yeah.
And I used to love it. I thought it was so fun. I didn't think it was like actually a career. I moved to Orange County after I graduated from University of Oregon. I was getting my second degree in graphic design. And I remember just posting photos, and this woman named Crystal Cannon, who led like the Rockstar Energy models, she commented on one of my pictures, and she was like, if you're ever in Orange County, like hit me up. I can get you some really cool work. And at that time, I'm in school. I'm, trying to survive off of like $300 a month. And I thought it would be really cool to like dip my toe in something like that. Started working with Rockstar Energy models. I would like submit photos that my friends had taken of me at the beach to different agencies. And I heard back from a few of them. They signed me. And the next thing I know, I'm commuting between LA and Orange County, every other day, trying to balance the two. And it just happened really fast. I didn't really think twice about it.
When was the first moment where you were like, okay, this is legitimately a career, not just something that I'm doing for like right now. This is something that I know I'm going to be doing for the foreseeable future.
I don't think I ever had that moment.
Fair.
I think it was, I have a habit of not really acknowledging things as they're happening. I just kind of take it in stride because I know it can go away at any second. So there was never a moment where I established or thought to myself like, oh, I'm a model now. I'm just going to keep calling myself one until I stop booking jobs. And that is what happened. So when I was juggling school and modeling, I knew it was really important to graduate from that. I knew my mom would support me in anything that I did. I knew my dad wanted me to like use my brain in quotes more. Cause I think, that models still use their brain in some capacity, but he had a different, idea in mind for my future. And so I knew I wanted to graduate, try to juggle the two. And, I think that's when I kind of learned to compartmentalize the different facets of myself, depending on if it was business, professional, personal, and modeling, things like that.
100%.
Separate the worlds.
And it was such an interesting time when you got into like big into this industry and everything like that, because it was the time period where people didn't really show their personality on social media. It was like if a girl posted bikini pics or anything like that, or travel photos or whatever, Alexis Ren, J. Alvarez type vibe, they did extremely, extremely well. But you didn't really know anything about those people, right? Like even to this day, I think about like Alexis Ren and J. Alvarez, and I'm like, I quite literally still know nothing about them.
Yeah. Except for they're hot.
Yeah. And it was wild because there was a time period where they had like a chokehold on the whole Instagram world, right?
They started it, I feel like.
100%. And so for you going from like your normal college girl to all of a sudden now you're, modeling with Rockstar and all of that kind of stuff. And you're, posting these photos on the internet, whatnot. They're getting traction. You are getting booked for modeling jobs and whatnot as a result. Was that a weird kind of psychological thing to be like, okay, hey, I have this like really bright, because here's the thing, like obviously I know you really well, and it's like you have this very bright personality. You're very much yourself. You're like, you're weird in the best way. Like you are very yourself weird. And you don't try to hide that, whatever. But when it comes to social media, you have hid that for a very long period of time. And within the last, I would say like year or two, you've shown your personality more than ever before. But like, again, going back to that time period of probably like whatever it would have been, like 2016, it was like at that time, people weren't really looking for personality from people on social media. They were looking for, if you were a hot girl, they just wanted you to post hot girl pics.
Yeah.
So was that something that you like thought about at the time of like, okay, I can't really show my personality? Did you ever attempt to show your personality? Kind of walk us through that, because I'm just curious.
I feel like not showing my personality was my way of like instilling boundaries, implementing boundaries. I felt like it's unnerving when you Google yourself and you see so much information out there that you didn't give to anybody. And then you think to yourself like, okay, then maybe there's something that I can protect here, because I'm really open with my relationships. I show my parents, show my hometown, most, elements of my life. But the one thing that people don't really get to have access to is like what makes me me. And so I know that I did implement some boundaries to protect myself, because I felt like if people didn't really know me, then whatever they say about me can't hurt that much. And I feel like, it hurt so bad already when people would make comments about my looks, but who I am is what I'm actually proud of and work really hard on. So if someone had something negative to say about that, then I know what that would do to me. So I think for the most part, it was just being protective, but I also, I'd be stupid not to notice what people wanted from me. So I always notice that the pictures where I'm, basically half naked, I'm in bathing suits, sports bra, things like that. they blow up, they get a lot of positivity. And then I post a video where I'm being silly and I get met with like, this isn't what we want from you. Like, you're weird. You're not funny. People were just really vocal. They wanted to let me know that like whatever I was trying to put out there, it wasn't landing. So like, go back to what you're good at. And I think when you hear that anytime, we hear that all the time in general in life. You know, I feel like the world tries to make you into something that makes you, I don't know, it just wants to shape you and mold you, not even into one thing. But I felt like the internet saw me and I'm like this blonde with fake boobs and, you know, lips and blonde, well, you know, the extensions. And they're like, well, like stay in your lane. And so I tried.
And then, and I guess like, how did that make you feel? Because I do feel like it's one of those things when people go on social media, for whatever reason, somebody feels like if somebody has a large following, they can just comment whatever about that person, right? Mm-hmm. They can comment about their body. They can comment about their looks. They can comment about X, Y, and Z. And they feel like, well, you know, this person's so well known or so famous or so hot or whatever that they won't be bothered by these comments, or they won't even see these comments and stuff like that. How did it make you feel when people were hateful towards you?
It really matters when people like me, because I feel like this is not like the good advice. I don't feel like people care enough about what people think in the way that I feel like people make everything everybody else's problem, where they're like, whatever people feel about you is about them, not you. That's actually completely untrue. I mean, there's elements of that are true, but if you come into a room and you're arrogant and you're making someone react to that, then you set the standard of what the tone of the room is going to be. And I feel like, you know, you're responsible for the energy that you bring into that room. And I always try to lead with like making myself difficult to hate. And I think that I took a different approach on Instagram because, you know, if it's a room full of people, I'm going to try to make you feel like very safe. I don't want to make you feel like you're judged at all. You're not alone. Like I want to be a safe space for people, but I don't know how to execute that properly on an internet platform. So I just give people what they want, which is the looks. And as long as I compartmentalize the two, then I feel like I'm protected in some way. So I feel like slowly but surely I've been letting out my personality, and I didn't think that it would have any impact on my life whatsoever. And it has weirdly made me so much more confident. I've noticed like the past 2 months, I've started to feel like, and it's so silly because I don't want to say that it's just because I'm showing my personality on Instagram, because that would put too much weight in social media. I think it's just what it represents of just kind of like, I'm not hiding any part of myself, like take it or leave it. And you know, I am weird. I am kooky. But it makes me me, and it makes me feel more unique. And I think in feeling unique, you feel more confident. So I've noticed there has been like an interesting like domino effect of our conversations that we've had, where you've told me to be more authentic and be more me. And that's kind of rubbed off in so many different aspects of my life.
I think when people are hateful on the internet, I think a large part of it is, and I always think about this, is that if somebody just comments nice or that's awesome or really cool or whatever, those posts are not going to really get a response or whatever. If somebody's hateful towards you, they know that you are going to read that comment, you are going to see that comment, you are going to think about that comment, right? And so for whatever reason, it gives that person some jolt of like I am now on their mind today, right? And so I think about a lot of times when people are hateful on the internet, and I'm like, I don't really think their comment is really that deep. I think they are looking to pick at some aspect of you because they know that by doing that, they're going to get a response from you, whether actually verbally in terms of you actually responding back and commenting and things like that, or inside your mind, just kind of being like, I can't believe that person said X, Y, and Z about me, but they know that you are thinking about them, right? And that's obviously stemming from their own insecurities, their own self-confidence issues, their own like rationale like that, where they need to, for whatever reason, some aspect of their life is not complete. They're not happy in some way. And so they need to get some sort of almost like external validation by saying something mean in order to know that you are now thinking about them, and that somehow makes them feel good about themselves, right? And so I think about it all the time, and I'm just like, Okay, so then why would I care about your comment, right? Because you don't know me. You don't know anything about me.
Yeah.
You know what you see on the internet and stuff like that, but you've never spent time with me, right? Mm-hmm. And so even though I am very open about myself on the internet and everything like that, nothing replaces actually sitting on the couch like we're doing, having an actual normal conversation and truly getting to know me, right? So I feel like when people make those comments, it's like, there's really no substance to it. There's no depth to it. So I'm like, your comment really doesn't mean much to me. But also, I understand that, as a woman, people comment on the things that give you the deepest insecurities, right? Mm-hmm. If some guy comments about your body and maybe it matches a comment that an ex-boyfriend said about you or whatever, that can affect you in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Did you see crossover in terms of like when somebody would comment something on Instagram about your body and then maybe like an ex-boyfriend had said something like that to you in the past? Did that bother you even more? Like, did that kind of, I guess, like cause you to almost have like a
visceral response?
Yeah. And then also put like a shield up of like, okay, cool. Then I'm not going to give anybody my personality. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. If you guys are going to make these comments, I'm just not going to show you who I am.
So I want to answer that question, but I also want to point out something that you were talking about, the personality type that goes along with people that, say negative things on the internet. I was just listening to a true crime podcast a few days ago, and the episode was about the psychology of people that fall in love with serial killers. So the people that write letters to people that have been convicted of like horrific crimes. And this woman came in and she was discussing people that, think that they're in love, think that they've been chosen by this killer, and how the psychology of that is very much like a trolling psychology of, they know it's taboo, they know it's not going to get a good response, they know that they're going to gain some sort of attention because it is so bad. There's a thing between that and then being chosen just by anything. And I think that as soon as I heard that, my mind immediately went to, when the men say mean things, it doesn't really matter to me as much. But when the women say mean things to me, it just made me think of them, of like, okay, they felt good taking a chunk of my time up because they deem it valuable, whether they want to admit it or not, because they wouldn't have then exerted that energy to do that. They think my time is valuable. They wanted to take up space, whether that be negative or positive, and they wanted to incite some sort of reaction out of me, and it didn't matter whether it was positive or good. And I just thought that the tie between that of like, it's the exact opposite of how my mind works. I don't want any negative energy or negative opinions or attention or anything like that. So I just think it's really interesting and something I want to talk about eventually about, how any attention is better than no attention to some people. But when it comes to what you were just asking me, I think that when there feels as if there's truth behind their statement, that's when it kind of bleeds into real life. So, and feeling like truth can mean that it has been confirmed by someone in real life. So when I had an ex-boyfriend that was really negative about my body, and then I was receiving comments like, how did you get him? He's so out of your league. Like, you're fat compared to him, things like that. It reads as true because the person in my life who sees me and wakes up to me confirms. They say the same thing. So then therefore, if it's over, on screen and then in person, then the two negatives equal a correct statement.
So how do you overcome that thought, I guess?
I don't. Like, you don't really. I think it's more like, for me, I just removed the negative people in my life, and I'm not the person asked that. Like, I don't think I really overcome that, more than I just realized that, like, it's not my job to be perfect. It's not my job to be everybody's type. It's not my job to make everybody feel good all the time. I will try to, but I wasn't put on this planet to make everybody else's life better. I will do so in the best capacity that I can. But there's only so much that I can do, and it's not my responsibility. So I'm doing the best that I can. And if the way that I look, how much I weigh, rubs someone the wrong way, it's not on me.
100%. I think the biggest thing that I think about all the time is that the idea of perfection is completely bullshit, right? There is no such thing as perfection, right? If you ask a group of 100 people, where's the perfect place in the world to live? you're not going to reach a consensus. There's going to be a large number of different answers and things like that. If you ask people, what is the ideal body type for the opposite sex or for the current same sex, whatever, there's not going to be one consensus. If you ask people, what is the best type of music, the best music artist, the best restaurant in some particular city, there's never consensus because people have different tastes, people have different preferences, people are different, right? And so I think about that all the time, and I'm like, listen, if you comment about how I look in some capacity, to some people, I may be incredibly good looking. To somebody else, they may be like, that guy ugly as hell, right? It is what it is. Everybody's got preferences. I don't really care if I'm not your cup of tea. It is what it is. So I think about that all the time, and I'm like, listen, it is what it is. I mean, there's no other way to put it other than like, again, if you are insecure about some aspect of your life, just know that there is no such thing as perfection. So you could change that aspect of your life, but it doesn't mean that like you've now reached this pinnacle of perfection because perfection is impossible to reach. Yeah. It's a level of life that you will never get to, no matter how hard you try, anything like that. And so instead, fall in love with like there's a song that I listen to by Odessa. And at the beginning of it, there's this woman's vocal where she says, she's talking about how there's this like, she's in space and there's this like sound and it's just clicking over and over and over again. It won't stop. And she said, so how do you like overcome this? I'm really butchering how I'm explaining this, but she's talking about how the sound is just consistent and it's kind of an annoying sound. And she's like, you have to fall in love with the sound. Right? Like that's the only way to beat it is fall in love with the sound. Right? So I think about my biggest insecurities and I'm like, you got to just fall in love with them. Like,
yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's the whole thing about loving yourself of like, I am my cup of tea. I am my boyfriend's cup of tea. The people that, love me, I am their cup of tea. I don't owe anybody anything else. As long as I'm good with me, then that's all that really matters. And when it comes to the whole thing of like falling in love with it, one of the most important things in psychology is, what you fight will end up coming back. It's the, what's that saying? Oh my gosh, it's like when you fight it, it comes back and whatever, it'll come to me. But what you suppress, what is it? It's like one of the most common phrases ever. Someone who's listening to this is saying it out loud. The whole point is you have to accept your worst thoughts. It's almost like, as someone that deals with a lot of anxiety, with those intrusive thoughts, you hear it and you go, okay, well, if it does happen, I'll deal with it. I'm strong enough for it. You accept it. You learn to make room for it. It's like you're supposed to look at it like an analogy of you're standing in a river and, there's something that's gliding by you and it's allowed to go downstream. You're in that stream. You're both allowed to exist. You don't have to stop it. You don't have to try to trap it. Just keep it flowing.
100%. And what's meant for you is meant for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I think that's a perfect way to phrase it. I think that again, I think when it comes to social media and everything like that, there is this like whole narrative of like chase perfection. But again, it's impossible to get.
For what, too? Right. Yeah. For what?
100%.
It's like I get into this like a nihilistic sort of, nihilistic way of thinking, I think, with a lot of things. I don't know if it's fatalistic or whatever, where I'm like, what's the point to it? Like, what's the point in getting the perfect picture? What's the point in so many different things? And just because someone's told us that it matters a lot and we just accept it as true and we don't even think about if it means anything to us. It's the same that goes with weddings, being in a relationship, having kids. You don't just have to do it or want it just because everybody else does or pretends to want to do those things. You don't need to go on that European vacation. If you want to, go. If you don't want to do, the big balloons with the age that you are, the photo shoot for your birthday, don't do it. Like, just because it's there doesn't mean you have to repeat it.
100%. I was thinking about the other day, I was reading about, the like white and blue beautiful buildings in Greece, the Santorini.
Mykonos and Santorini. Yeah.
So I was reading the other day about how like those areas where people take the photos of the like beautiful architecture and whatnot, that those areas are super, super populated now. And so when you go there, you're taking a photo and the photo looks beautiful, but around you are like 400 or 500 other people with their cameras out taking the same photo, right? And I thought about that and I'm like, If you were to ask somebody, they then take that photo, they post that photo on social media, and they act like that moment was this beautiful moment. But it really wasn't, right? Because you were surrounded by a bunch of people who are taking the same exact photo. No one's talking to each other. Everyone is staring off in the same direction. They're all looking to get the perfect Instagram photo, yada, yada, yada. For what other purpose other than just getting that, like, kind of, I guess, like, society approved like and engagement 100%. From somebody being like, oh my God, I'm so jealous that you're in Santorini right now, right?
Well, it sucks the sincerity out of every moment. If you think 100%. About it, it's like, your favorite picture of yourself. Is it the one where you look the happiest and you haven't edited it? Probably not. It's going to be the one that you thought about the outfit, you retouched it, you made sure your friend sent it to you so it was perfect and filtered. And I think that's what's so sad is like, we all are so, not all of us, I don't want to generalize, but a lot of us are very sad and feel very isolated because we've sucked the sincerity out of moments like taking photos on vacation and you're in line and you're waiting, you're dripping with sweat and you're just trying to get the shot for what? For like 7 people to like it on your story. It's just, right. I don't know.
It has no point. It's like if you ask that same person, what was the highlight of your Santorini trip? Mm-hmm. They'd probably talk about some moment when they were with whoever they traveled to Santorini with. Oh, when we went to this one restaurant, we had this, beautiful dinner and we just enjoyed each other's company. Mm-hmm. Or this time that we walked into this random little mom and pop shop and we had this beautiful pastry and we just got to experience the culture in some way. Or mm-hmm. us just walking around a beach, a local beach or something. You know what I mean? It's like something like that is the moment that they truly think back about. But it's that photo of the architecture in Santorini that gets the Instagram post, right?
So dark example of that. I was in Sailita with my boyfriend. We had just met a couple of months prior, and we decided just to travel a ton, a month into our relationship, realistically. And we went to Sailita, and took all of my photos for all of my collabs when I got us the free hotels and things like that. On the day that was supposed to be our free day, we went to the beach. We met up with some of his guy friends that happened to be there at the same time. We ordered drinks on the beach, and we ended up getting drugged. And it was probably meth. I don't know because I've never done meth, so I can't compare. But I was with my boyfriend in the pool and all of his friends, and all of a sudden I was like, something is not right. My boyfriend's jaw is going back and forth, like I am not feeling right. And it went from, I was incredibly panicked. I'm not somebody that is experimental. I don't do drugs. Like, all of it is terrifying to me. And my favorite moment of the trip was my boyfriend just saying, I know you want to be alone in the room, but I want to make sure that let's get you out. Let's go to town. Let's have dinner. Let's walk around. Let's distract you. And it sounds so strange, but when I think about that trip, I think about how he knew what I needed more than my instincts needed or thought I needed. And I had this person that protected me and made me feel really, really safe in a time where I felt very compromised and very vulnerable. And that's something that none of my photos captured on my Instagram. You just see me staying in this gorgeous canopy hotel. You don't see me just rocking back and forth on a sidewalk. But that was my best part of the trip, was my boyfriend taking care of me. And that was the trip that we said, I love you for the first time, because I think to feel loved, you have to feel really safe. And that was the moment where it really occurred to me, I'm in really good hands.
I want to ask you, because obviously I've known you for a really long time. So I've seen you in multiple different relationships and things like that. What? Oh, she's handing me the... Yeah. You gave me a very concerned look. I was like, what is going on?
I realized you hadn't taken a sip of your wine. I am concerned.
The conversation...
I don't want you to have more strength in me in your sobriety.
The conversation's been too good.
Yeah.
So obviously I've known you through multiple different relationships, things like that. And so... what do you think is the biggest difference that you noticed about yourself from being in toxic relationships to now being in a healthy relationship? Are there any differences that stand out to you with that?
Massive. I feel like a completely different person, mostly in the way that I have so much room in my brain to focus on everything else in my life. And I feel like when I was in toxic relationships, the relationship was my world because I didn't have the capacity to think about anything else. And now that I'm in a very healthy and loving relationship, my whole world opened up. All of a sudden I have time to really build my friendships, build my career. I can sleep better at night. I can learn and improve aspects of myself that I had neglected for the first, 29 years of my life. I feel like the biggest difference has just been how much freedom and just I can breathe now. I didn't know what it felt like to feel good, day after day, for a long period amount of time. And the amount of, freedom that gives you is huge. I feel like I have my own autonomy. I think a lot of girls will relate to this, where when I was in bad relationships, I was afraid to go away for the weekend, because the weekend is when they're off of work and people go to the bars and then, statistically speaking, cheat the most. And it's such a sad thing of like, I know girls will relate to that because I've had those conversations with a lot of girls of, like, I can't go on Saturday because then he'll go out with his guys, and I don't have any of that. I have, my boyfriend could go anywhere, do anything, and I know it's because he respects me. And when you feel respected by your partner, you would be shocked by how much your world completely changes. And I was just home with my parents last week, and we were talking about, young me versus the me that I became and then the me now. And when I was younger, I was very bold. I was very self-assured. I was very confident, even though I was bullied heavily. I knew me. I was good with me. I was proud of me. I worked really hard. I was, 4.0, 4.1 student. And then, that pivotal moment of, adolescence occurs when all of a sudden being liked is more important than being true to yourself. And I leaned into that a little bit too much. And I just decided I was going to be whatever people wanted to, get from me. And I lost myself in that. And then in turn, I attracted men that liked a woman that didn't know who she was. And now that I'm in a relationship with somebody that saw me for me, like from the first moment that he met me, I feel like I'm becoming almost like middle school me again. And it was something that like my parents acknowledged. And then I realized how true it was, where they're like, we feel like we got our daughter back. And like, that made me really emotional, because it's like, there is like a period of my life that I don't remember that much, because I think I was just going through the motions. And like now every day matters, because it's like really me doing all of it. And I feel like it's very authentic and true to who I am.
100%. So on top of that, in the time I've known you, you've had various different insecurities that you've voiced to me, right? Yeah. And how do you think when you were in toxic relationships, that kind of, I don't know what the right way to phrase this would be, but how do you think those bad toxic relationships brought out those insecurities in you? And how do you view those insecurities now that you're in a healthy relationship?
I think that like people in general are innately very self-absorbed and very self-centered, whether that be for like survival or just because they're just, can't see outside of themselves. And I feel like when you're in a toxic relationship, it's really hard to see outside that bubble. And I think like, think about your friends that are dating a shitty guy, you lose them. Like all of a sudden they forget that you have a job and a life and a kid and a husband, things like that. Everything just revolves around them. And I think when you date people like that, it's really easy to date another one like that and another one like that. And then all of a sudden you look around you and you go, oh my God, life has been moving this entire time. It didn't just revolve around me. And I feel like I lost like the first part of your question, if I'm being honest, but I feel like being in a healthy relationship made me see what was actually going on in the world around me for the first time in my life. What was your question?
The question was,
you gave me Muay or Matai.
Yeah, Matai. The insecurities that you had when you were in a toxic relationship, I would assume some of those come from...
Oh, now I get what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, I would assume some of those come from comments that the next boyfriend, made to you, whatever. So when you were in that relationship, maybe there was something that they said to you and all of a sudden you're like, damn, I didn't even think that about myself. Now I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was talking about the self-absorption. You start to realize that like the victim mentality about people criticizing you is really self-absorbed. So when people would give me... like boyfriends who gave me feedback about my body, and all of a sudden all that mattered to me was like, okay, I have to get a bigger butt then. Like I have to get rid of my cellulite. Who the fuck cares? Like there's so many bigger things going on in the world than your dumb boyfriend saying that you have cankles or you have a manly jaw. Like there's so many other big things. And when you start to kind of look at insecurity as being self-absorbed in a way, you almost start to feel pathetic. And I think when I started sitting down in a room and realizing that every one of the girls in the room felt that, like, damn, like nothing makes you feel more lame than that. Like we're all feeling like this. Like we have got to get over it then. Like if we're all feeling like that we're not good enough, there's a bigger problem at hand here. And like, way to be predictable. Like way to not like your nose. It's like all of a sudden you're starting to sound like everybody. And that was, even if it's not for the right reasons, it kind of snapped me out of it, where when someone would say something negative to me, I'm like, yeah, but you know what? I make my friends feel really good about themselves. You start to weigh the pros, versus the things that really just don't fucking matter.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that's fair. I think it's really easy to, kind of hear comments that people make about, I don't know, like some, you're surrounded by friends and they're talking about some new TV show or some new movie and they're like, oh, that actor is, so hot for X, Y, and Z reason. And you're like, well, damn, I don't have what that dude has, like, shit, and you start to kind of look at yourself and doubt yourself in some reason as a result of that. And then at some point I was like, dude, you just got to fall in love with you, and you just got to be like, hey, I'm great the way I am. And I'm going to continue to do the things that make Mark happy. And if you like that, you like that. And if you don't, you don't. But like, again, I'm never trying to be everybody's cup of tea, because I think, again, when you try to do that, you are setting yourself up for a path of just complete unhappiness, because you're no longer doing things for you anymore. You're doing it for all the people around you, right? You
know what's so funny is, in turn, you are almost everyone's cup of tea. Like, not to make this interview now about you, but it is true. Like, I think in being so fully yourself and so fully like what you see is what you get, makes you the person that everybody wants to be around. Everybody 100%. Is like desperate to be around someone that, like, there is no like mystery in a negative way. Like, as soon as I met you, like, of course I've found out more things about you, but my opinion has never really changed of you. Like, I know you're authentic. I know you're sincere. I know you're going to do more for people than maybe they deserve at all times. But like, you really truly are almost everyone I've ever met's cup of tea.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, but it's true. Like, I mean, I always say it's your Libra thing, but it is like, you really make people feel very safe and very seen. And at a time when I was with someone that made me feel very invisible, even as a friend, it was really nice having a male see me for who I was, because I felt like I was always trying to prove, especially in that time of my career, who I was dating, my opinions of men and everything. It was really nice for me to have an example of a man that can like things about you that have nothing to do with the way that you look. And I think you offer that to a lot of women in your life.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I mean, it's I mean, it's just I think when you think about the lowest moment that you've ever felt in your life, and I've had very low moments, I think when you've been there, I don't want to do anything that would make anybody else feel like that, totally. And so I feel like it's always why I've wanted to get to know people, because when you get to know people, you get to know their trauma. You get to know what they've been through. You get to know why they are the way they are. And so I feel like when you do that, then you can truly support somebody. You can be there for them when you know that they have certain triggers, when you know that they have certain past trauma and things like that, things that you can then help out with because you know how certain things affect them, right? And so I think about, again, it's like when somebody comments on my skin in some positive way, it like lights me up in some way that I can't possibly explain properly, because it's like, yeah, I've been through Accutane 3 times and was on it for damn near 6 years of my life, right? So when somebody makes a comment like that, I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm on top of the world. Like, I feel like I'm LeBron James right now. Yeah. And it's just because when you've been that low, you know how shitty that feeling is. And so when somebody does something to just remind you that you're no longer in that depth, it feels really good, right? And so I think it's really important to support your friends, support the people that you love, support the people that you care about, and to be honest, support the people that you barely know. Like, you don't have to wait until you've known somebody forever to support them, know? My whole attitude on it is I will treat, the moment I meet you, I will treat you like I've known you for 20 years. And the moment you abuse that trust, the moment you don't treat me properly, yada, 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 then I will remove you from my life. But from the day one that I meet you, I will treat you like I've known you forever. And I hope that, I will treat you with love and respect. And if that is reciprocated, then cool, you will stay in my life. And that's why you and I have stayed so close for so long. It's because from day one, we've always shown each other love and respect. And we've been there for each other through so many different things and all of that. And so it's why I appreciate our friendship.
Me too. I was at dinner with my parents, and my dad, he's German. He's very antisocial. He's a little socially awkward. He's incredibly lovable, but he doesn't find ease in like social interaction. And he made a comment about how whenever I'm around like any waiters or any staff of any kind, just people in general, I take great interest in them. and I act like I really care and how it's nice. And I was like, the thing is like, I'm not acting, I feel it genuinely. And I think that in a way, like I know I went on a whole thing about not owing anyone. I think we owe people the energy that they are important. Like they could just be taking up 20 seconds of my time or 20 seconds of theirs, vice versa. But like we do really owe people the feeling of importance. And I think that so many people feel very like their lives are trivial unless they're famous, unless they have a lot of money or have good things or they have status or some kind. And I think people grapple with the fact that like they don't think their life has much meaning or importance. And I think that you can give people that through eye contact and undivided attention. And if you just put your phone down and you ask how their kid is, you can really change the trajectory of a day. Someone's belief in themselves. And I even said to them, I was like, my best guy friend's like that. Like we both walk into a place. Like that's why I think we're going to be really good at this career is we genuinely care every time we sit down with somebody. Like every single time we get to know somebody, I've gained like, how many episodes have we done? I've gained 12 friends because of that I talk to almost on a daily basis because we've gotten to know them on a deep level and we love them in that capacity. And I think that that's something I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that on both of our ends. And I think it's really interesting that like the compliment that you get from people, the one that really sticks with you and is like your all-time favorite is the one that has been the deepest insecurity of your life. So I'm sure you've had other ones, but your skin, mine is always feeling like I'm weird or like there's just something wrong with me or like that I'm not like someone's first choice to hang out with. And when I've gotten people that have said that I make them feel very seen and I make them feel safe, that is the compliment that out of anything kind anyone's ever said to me sticks out the most to me is because I want to feel that way. Like I want to feel seen and safe, and to give that to somebody else is, that's all I want.
100%. And I think that's a great point that you made about the people that are, working in some sort of service, whether it's like, I always think about when I go to an airport and you're checking in and the person who's working at the United desk or American or whatever, and then the TSA workers and whatnot, how many people they go through the same, license and boarding pass, whatever, and they make that comment to them, and the amount of people who barely make a comment back, and then that person just says that to the next person that comes through, and the next person, and their life becomes incredibly repetitive. And I always think about that, and I'm like, man, if I can just like for a quick moment have like a 10-second conversation with this person of like, whether it's making a quick comment about something that's going on or whatever it may be, something that just kind of like disrupts that routine that they've had with that, because I want to just remind them that they're not just like a character in a video game. Like they are a legitimate person and they play a strong role there. Like we wouldn't be able to fly where we're going without them working that day, right?
Totally.
And so I try to just like make a quick comment, something, whether it's even just saying, the bare minimum of like, hey, I hope you have a really nice day, and then saying their name afterwards, right? It's like those little things just go a long way. And I think about, again, when people have done that back to me, and I know how great that feels. And so if I could do that to somebody else, then I want to. I just feel like it's an important aspect of our lives, is like making sure we understand how we affect the people that are around us.
Totally. I mean, everybody around us, their life is being built from 30-second interactions. And when you're stuck in a kiosk at TSA or something like that, all they're getting are those 30-second interactions. So make yours a really good one.
Okay, so what I want to get into next is, I've been able to see your kind of life transition, right? We've gone from you being, full-time model to now all of a sudden you're working on multiple different things outside of that, right? You've got Keen, you've got the podcast, you've got everything that you're doing. So walk through, I guess, like, why did you decide that you wanted to kind of start new things outside of modeling and everything like that? Because you had no issues with that. You're doing great with it. You obviously could just maintain doing that for as long as you want to. So why did you decide to start Keen? Why did you decide to start this podcast?
Because I wasn't happy. And I think that clearly if you want your life to change, you have to do different things. And I was consistently unhappy for the duration of my modeling career. And I think it was just from not having a purpose, not feeling fulfilled. I was in a career that drained me instead of fulfilled me and things like that. And I used to, hear my dad's voice in the back of my mind of like, use your brain. And I realized, I think it was last year probably, that it had nothing to do with belittling the career that I had chosen. It was the fact that he saw potential for me that I was not living up to. And he was right. Like in turn, it's like I became depressed. I had very low self-esteem. I was feeling very like, what's next? You know, like life wasn't exciting to me anymore. And I knew for my life to be exciting, I had to make it so. And we all have a say. Like I have people telling me all the time, like, you have such a cool life. Your life is so fun. And I made it. I made all of that. And it's the thing that I'm the most proud of is it was really easy for me to stay in my room and wallow. It was a lot harder for me to, start companies and start ideas and make really difficult moves to make those things happen. But I was rewarded with a massive amount of excitement for my life. And I think that is something I will never take for granted again. And I think that's something that like I didn't know was even important in my youth. And I think that just wait, like if you're young and you're listening to this and that's not like your first priority, it will one day be. Just like being content and excited for the next day is the thing that is the biggest gift of all time. And I don't care if it makes me a lot of money. I don't care if it makes me well known. I know that I'm doing something that will make people feel good. And I know I'm doing something that, checks off like different aspects of my personality. Like I know I want to do something in fragrance and design. Boom, check. I know I want to do something where I get to meet new people that I'm interested in and I connect with and I hear their story and I make people feel less alone. Podcast, check. I love the opportunities and new, exciting, weird things that I get to do because of modeling. I love that no one day is the same. I don't have any monotony in my life. So check, I have checked off every single aspect of who I am as a person to make me feel fulfilled. And I listened to myself. Like, I think that's what's so important is like, I listened and I went through a period of time of not having any money. Like this, it was never easy for me. Like I had more sleepless nights because I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills than I can even count. I had a lot of stress about it. And I think people see my Instagram and they're like, oh, like, someone paid for that. Or like, it's like, I did it all like on my own. I worked my ass off to do all of that on my own. And I never sold my soul to get there. I never compromised my ethics to get there. I'm really proud of how I got there.
It's been very cool to see you lean into the more entrepreneurial aspects of yourself, the more like Anna aspects of yourself. Again, it's like, I love the modeling world. I mean, I was in it for a very long time. I think there's some great benefits that can come out of it, but I think every industry has its dark sides and every industry has its sides that like that need work and things like that. And so, again, it's like the photography aspect of things. I will always love the feeling that somebody has when you send them over their photos and they get them back and they love the photos and they love how they turned out and everything like that. There's few better feelings than that, right? But I also know that, same thing. I was like, I need to use my brain in some way. I love great conversation. It's my favorite aspect of things. My favorite aspect of photo shoots was always getting to know the people that I was shooting with, because in order for me to take the best photos of them, I got to know them. I got to know what your insecurities are. I got to know what your angles are. I got to know, what you like about yourself and what you don't like about yourself. I need to know what you've been through so I can know what you've been told and how you've been treated and everything like that, so that I can then in turn do my job better, right? And to make you feel better about yourself, because that is the most important thing. I go back to, I think confidence is the most important aspect that, of everybody's life, is you have to be confident. But there's so many things in life that detract from that. So if I can somehow help that, I want to. And so again, I feel like I fulfilled that with the photography. I did that for so long. I did that with a lot of different people. It was a very positive aspect of my life. Now I'm like, cool, I want to go into this next chapter. I want to do this podcast. But if I'm going to do it with anybody, I wanted to do it with you. It was never a conversation I had with anybody else. It was something I always wanted to do with you. And then the conversations that we've been able to have, bringing people on, the incredible ways that we've been able to get to know people, to have these super vulnerable, real conversations that are not easy to have. I mean, it's never easy. It's never easy to put yourself out there. I think that's the part about it, whether you're anytime you are doing anything where you are being vulnerable, it's really, really difficult, like really hard. And so I think it's such a powerful thing when you get past that block. Everybody has that block of like, I only want to be this vulnerable, and then there's this wall that I'm putting up, right? And the moment you surpass that, it's this feeling of like, I did it. I did it. I put myself out there. I said this thought that I have in the back of my head that I wasn't sure if people would judge me for, but I said it. I did it. And there's something really, really powerful about that. It gives you that feeling of I can do anything, right?
Totally. To keep normalizing it. It's like people thinking that therapy was taboo. Now look at all of us. Like, we're proud to say that we have a therapist. Like, if we just keep normalizing things that we're embarrassed by, it's not going to be a thing in 5 years. Next 100%. Year, whatever. Like, let's just keep it going.
I mean, I think about, again, like even doing this podcast, everything like that. It's like I had the idea of doing a podcast for like 2 years before I ever ended up doing a podcast. And I was so nervous to do it because I was like, what if somebody thinks it's dumb? What if somebody thinks it's, what if they think I'm trash at it? Whatever. I'll still go back when I'm editing and be like, I could have said this different. You could have done this different. Why didn't you, ask Anna this after that person said this, and it's like, it is what it is.
Take it into the next session.
Yeah, we're growing, we're learning. You and I have conversations about this in terms of how can we create the best environment for our guests to have a great time? How can we make sure that we're, coming out with the thoughts and opinions that we want to put out there? And, how do we lead a conversation in a way that leads everybody to just enjoying themselves and having a great conversation? And so everything's a work in progress, and I think that's the biggest thing we constantly have to keep in mind. We're always a work in progress, right?
Very true.
So what do you want this next chapter of Anna to look like? Do you have any goals for yourself? Anything that you're like, hey, I really want to lean into this in this next chapter of Anna?
I just want to keep making my life as cool as possible. I think I'm on the path to anything is possible, truly. Like, I think that applies to anybody, but like, I have opened up my life in a way where it could really look any way that I want it by next year. And that is like the most exciting thing to me. Like, I feel so... It's like the opposite of being suffocated. I feel so free to just be whatever I want to be. And I think I just want to keep reveling in that. And I'm not going to set any goals other than making each thing that I've started this year the most successful that it could possibly be. And just keep it going. Like, I don't want to set too many like standards of what I want it to look like, because it could end up being so much better than I don't want to put any control onto it. Like, I don't want to put any boundaries onto it. Should we do like a quick fire questions where like I just answer really quick, like end it with like a what's your like, you know what I mean? Okay, we're gonna go with some rapid fire questions. Yeah, I'm gonna throw them at you. They're just gonna come to my head, so if they sound stupid, it's just because I'm coming up with all these straight off the dome. Okay, yeah. First one: you walk into a bar, you're ordering a drink. What's your go-to drink? Jack and Coke. Okay, second drink, it has to be anything other than hard liquor. What's your second drink? Hard cider. Hard cider. There we go. Okay, favorite music artist? Led Zeppelin. If you could meet anybody, dead or alive, who would it be? And have dinner with them? Oh my God. Not meet anybody? I would love to see my grandpa again. Oh, well, damn, that's... I know. I really miss him. Now you got me in my feels. I would love to see him. Okay. One place that you haven't traveled to that you really want to go to? Greece. Okay. Don't be taking this. Yeah. Don't be taking this. Everybody loves Greece. Damn, I really want to go. Everyone's there right now posting pictures. Okay. If there's one career that you could have gone into that there's probably no chance of doing it now, but something that you wish you could have done growing up. Criminal profiler. Okay. Fair. Yeah. If you didn't know that already. You could, hey, maybe that's your new IG route. Maybe you just become the Instagram criminal profile. I'm going to start diagnosing people. There we go. Through photos. Nothing can backfire. People do that about like auras. They're like, oh, you have a purple aura, and be like, you seem like you're narcissistic. You have histrionic personality disorder. I'm gonna start doing that. What is that word? Histrionic personality disorder. Never even heard of that. Oh, we'll talk about it at dinner. Okay, fair. Okay. You go to dinner. What's your favorite item to order? Favorite item to order? Appetizer wise. Let's go appetizer first. If they have really good gluten-free bread. I never get to have bread anymore, so if I can have sourdough bread, butter, and just like some sea salt on it, like it's so simple, but I miss it so much. Okay, favorite entree. Favorite entree, medium rare steak, garlic mashed potatoes, broccolini, or balsamic Brussels sprouts. Okay. If you could speak another language, what language? German. Okay. Another one besides that, because you're already German. Spanish. Another one, because that's a basic one. I don't care about any of the other ones. Japanese. Okay, fair. Yeah, Japanese. I was going to go with Mandarin Chinese. Yeah, because you just like alcohol. They say it's the most difficult language in the world to learn. Okay, so it means you're really smart if you know it.
So yeah,
just make you feel cool.
I watched this video the other day though, of somebody speaking Spanish, and they were talking about how like there was this one word, I can't even remember what it was, but they changed like one letter in it, and each time it meant something different.
Yeah.
And then they put a sentence together at the end of it that was like all of them with slight iterations of the word.
Oh, I love that.
And I was like, God, learning another language is so difficult. So whenever I meet somebody who speaks multiple different languages, I'm like, you are an incredibly impressive human being.
You know who speaks amazing Spanish?
Who's that?
Ben Affleck. Have you ever Googled Ben Affleck speaking Spanish? It's actually like magical.
Oh, well,
I think that's why J-Lo.
Maybe his Spanish wasn't good enough that he wasn't able to converse properly with J-Lo.
I think he conversed better than she did.
He speaks Spanish better than
she does. Yeah.
Wow, impressive. Okay, favorite movie genre?
Psychological thriller.
Okay, if you could write a book about anything, what would you write it about?
Ooh, I think I would do some sort of like smut for sure, like a romance novel.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could only
with murder.
Okay, fair. If you could only shop at one clothing store for the rest of your life, where would you go?
Fuck, why is this the hardest question? Oh my God, that's the hardest question. My God, I want to go anthropology probably. Okay. Yeah, anthropology.
Okay. Favorite non-clothing store to stop to at a mall?
I love Target.
Okay.
Ooh, or Cinnabon. Except for I can't have it anymore because I'm gluten-free.
You know what I love?
Fuck.
Wetzel's
pretzels. Motherfucking Wetzel's.
Gotta go with my boy Wetzel.
Wetzel Pretz. The WP.
There's the Trevor Wallace video where he talks about my boy Wetzel. I gotta go get some.
Oh God, one of those buttery Wetzels.
I could crush
and
a Wetzel's
lemonade.
pretzel right now.
Me too.
God, it sounds so great.
I know.
Now.
That's the best. We're glowing.
Okay. Let's see. What do I got? Favorite color?
White.
Okay, besides white
to
and black.
wear. I love to wear white.
Okay, if you could rock any color that you don't typically wear in your wardrobe, what would it be?
You know what color makes you really happy? I'm going to sound horrible, but you know when the sun is setting and the ocean has like some of the orange that's absorbed into the blue and it turns into that really pretty orange-blue mashup? I like that color.
Okay.
What is that?
I don't know. Favorite season?
Fall.
Okay. Do you call it fall or autumn ever?
Fall, like I just said.
Somebody put that on their Instagram story earlier today, and I was like,
what I just call it, Mark?
Well, I was like, autumn is so much of a bougier way to say it.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Autumn.
I don't know if I can ever get there, but
you could name your kid Autumn, but you couldn't name it Fall.
Okay, fair. I knew a girl named Autumn in college.
Yeah, she's probably hot.
Yeah, she was.
It's a hot girl name for sure. Yeah. I've never known ugly Autumn.
Yeah. Anywho, let's see.
Why don't you draw it out of the box?
Yeah, you know what? Let me go with a few here. Okay, let's see. This is from.
You didn't ask me who I want to be friends with.
We're not really strangers. Great Instagram page, and they also have a card game where you just.
Oh wait, yeah, I've seen their they have sweatshirts.
Oh yeah, 100%. I have one of them. Okay, let's see.
You don't like any of the questions, so you put them down.
Well, because that one was about me, so you know. Do you believe everyone has a calling? If so, do you think I've found mine?
Yes, I think. Well, yeah, I don't think it was like premeditated. I don't think like we were put onto the planet with someone being like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do, like in that one book that we all to read, The Giving. You know, I don't think you're assigned a career, but I think like through your experiences, like I think that, yeah, and what you've learned, you have a calling, and I think you're definitely doing it.
Okay, fair. I will say this game is meant for couples.
Wait, that's good. Actually, that's funny.
It's like, you know, all the questions are like, how would you describe me to a stranger? It's
you're like, what's your favorite body part about me?
Yeah.
Your skin.
There we go.
Yeah,
Thank you.
your skin's perfect.
Okay. You know what? Here, actually, because these are great for you to ask me to answer about you. So actually.
Oh, wait. Give it to me.
Yeah. So here, grab these. Let me see here. Let me toss these over to you. By the way, this is a great game. 10 out of 10 recommend. This is called, again, We're Not Really Strangers.
Okay, this is fun. Oh, do I remind you of anyone?
No, because you're at this point I know you so well that I feel like you are just Anna, and that is can't compare you to anybody.
I don't like this one. Like, what's your mother's name? Like, I don't even know. I already know what it is. Can't wait to meet her.
She's a great lady. Known her since birth.
Okay, all the ones that I'm getting are about you again.
Oh damn. We're
What's your father's name? Damn it.
Okay, grab a different section.
Okay,
grab a different section.
Okay,
we're gonna try this. We got this.
We can crop. Show the first photo in your camera roll.
Wait,
Are you missing anyone right now?
Go to level 3. Go to level 3. So you got to see see on the back it says levels. Make sure they're level 3 questions. I think those are the ones better.
How do our personalities complement each other? Cute.
I think both of us are very aware of how we make each other feel. So I feel like as a result, we have a really good, when you go into business with anybody, and obviously like doing a podcast, we're technically going into business together. You have to know how the other person is going to respond to certain things. So I feel like at this point, I know you so well that I know exactly how you'll respond to certain things. And I also feel like we've created an environment where we feel comfortable enough to bring something up if one of us is unhappy with some aspect of something.
I agree. We can overcome anything. Oh no, I hate this question. What do you admire most about me?
I admire your ability to laugh about anything. And I think that's a very important aspect of life, is that there's so many times in life when it's hard to find the silver lining. It's hard to be positive about something, and you always have a way of laughing about whatever's going on. And whether it's something that's really bothering you, whether it's something that's really, upsetting you, something that's making you emotional in some way, you have the ability to find laughter and enjoyment in anything. And I think as a result, you have the ability to overcome anything. And so even on the days where you're exhausted or you're stressed out about whatever, you're able to kind of put that to the side, make the best out of it, and, do what you got to do to like make the best out of that day.
Thank you. Everything's funny if you think about it. There's this one Tosh stand-up that I watched when I was in college, and he was basically saying how I know I'd never be friends with you if you start a sentence with "there's nothing funny about blank," and it's true. If there's a funny joke about it, anything could be funny.
That's facts. Let's find one more good one.
These are all about fucking you again. God, Mark wants to get interviewed so bad. He just wrote all of these up. What do you think I should know about myself that I'm perhaps unaware of?
Ooh. That's good. I would say that everybody enjoys your presence. That I've never had a time where I've introduced you to somebody, whether it's a friend of mine, whether it's somebody we're having on the podcast, whether it's somebody that I work with in some capacity, whether it's my family, whatever it may be. Everybody has positive things to say about you, and everybody loves being in your company, and you're just a great person to be around. And I think people can sense your authenticity, and like nothing about you is like fake in any way. You're very real. You're very much yourself. You don't try to be everybody's cup of tea, whatever. You're just authentically yourself. And I think you also very much care about getting to know everybody that you come into contact with. And so what, are you getting emotional right now?
Yes. Fuck.
So I think,
there's nothing better than hearing that. That's the nicest thing ever. Thank you.
No problem. That's how we're going to end this podcast. Her mascara is just washing down her face.
Waterproof.
Oh, there you go. Nice. I think that
now I can't make eye contact with you because it was so nice.
It's tough.
Now you made it awkward.
I think I'm always happy to introduce you to people because I know that they will have a positive impression from you. I know that they will come away from it wanting to get to know you more, wanting to spend more time with you and everything like that. And I think that you just have a way of making everybody feel great about themselves. And I think that's a very admirable trait.
Fuck, I just want to punch the couch. That was so nice. Can you say something mean?
Yeah.
Can you roast me? Roast me to balance it out.
Oh, fuck. Jack and Coke kind of sucks. Sorry.
In what way?
I don't know. It's not the greatest drink in the world.
Okay.
Unless they want to
Mark's not the greatest name.
Fuck your name.
I know. You know what? Well, your name fucking sucks. So, well, your fucking socks have holes in them. Loser. Sometimes. Not those, though.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
A lot of times. Gotta get better with that. I've thrown away like 3 pairs since our last podcast.
Good. You went through them. Spread them out. Hold them up to the light.
Anywho, I feel like this is a great way to wrap it up. Yeah, we'll do more of these and stuff like that. But yeah, obviously when we record these podcast episodes, we want it to be a open conversation with whoever we have on. Certain times that means you're going to have a lot of Anna in that episode. Certain times it means you're going to have a lot of me in that episode. Certain times it means you're going to have lesser of us and more of the guest. Sometimes it's going to be lesser of the guest and more of us. Every conversation is going to be different, but we want to do these episodes sometimes where it's just the two of us. And I would say, again, I can speak for both of us when I say we appreciate everybody who's tuned in, everybody who's watched this, listened to this, everything like that. Anybody who's shared it with other friends and things like that. It means a lot to us.
We see all of it. Like,
100%.
We're so small that we see, acknowledge, and appreciate every little thing that has happened. Every message we get, every comment that we get, we read it, we see it, we talk about it, we text about it. Like, there's nothing that goes unnoticed, so like just know that like it means the world to us.
And if you have any topic that you want us to go over, if you have any type of guest you want us to have on, if you think you'd be a great guest to have on,
submit yourself.
Yeah, let us know.
That's cool. Submit yourself.
100%. But yeah, Anna, appreciate you being open and vulnerable on this conversation. We'll, I'm sure we'll do a part 2 of this at some point, because I know there's got to be questions.
Because I'm going to interview you.
Yeah, we'll do that at some point, but we'll also do the
Let
part 2.
us know if you want to hear from me though next.
No, we'll do a part 2 of Anna Katharina at some point. Wait, can you say your name one time, the full name, everything like that? Because it always is
with my Anna flair.
Yeah, with your little German flair.
Anna Katharina Finca Punchdela.
Yeah, say that 3 times fast.
That's just my name.
Anna Katharina.
Boom. Perfect.
Yeah,
said it perfectly. Perfect. Never said it better.
Anywho,
we have dinner reservations.
We got dinner reservations
with one of our guests that we had on, Willow.
100%. So
yes.
We got to go, but I appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll chat with you guys shortly.
Love you guys. Bye.